The Breakfast Club really dropped the ball on that exclusive with Remy Ma. Playing games and getting mixed up in drama tied to Papoose and Clarissa Shields, that whole situation had people side-eyeing hard. Like, how do you mess up something that big? So yeah, today it's all about Remy Ma. We're talking about that long-awaited, super hype, most talked about, everybody been waiting on this kind of interview. This was supposed to be major, the kind of exclusive that has everyone locked in and paying attention, no distractions. And get this, it's all tied to a Netflix drop. Now that's wild, because I've been keeping my distance from Netflix for stuff like this. If it's not a series, a movie, or a solid documentary, I'm not interested at all. I'm not about to sit there watching The Breakfast Club on Netflix. That's just not happening for me. I already said I was one and done with this kind of move. I remember it clear. It was around that big NFL playoff game right before the Super Bowl when they tried to roll out a sports podcast on Netflix. And I said, H-E-double-L, no, not happening. Not now, not ever again. That whole idea just didn't sit right with me, and I meant that.
Shout out to Remy Ma. She did an interview on Joe and Jada's podcast, and if you didn't see it, you really need to check it out, man. She shows you what class personified really is, and it's kind of crazy because I know a lot of people tuned in and they wanted to hear and see her go off on Papoose and that habitual side chick Clarissa Shields, but she didn't. It was classy, and it's about her, and it led me to realize that the way you pay people back is to blow up, or as the females say, glow up. Like, Remy's blow up has rendered Clarissa Shields and Papoose obsolete. Message, that's a lesson to everybody, man. When people attack you, just level up and then make them obsolete. She's an eagle. Where she's soaring at, they can't get in that altitude. Shout out to Rem. Watch how you talk to me.
The real issue is you lose that social media energy when you move everything like that. You don't see what people are saying, you miss the live reactions, the debates, the back and forth where fans are agreeing, disagreeing, and going at it over every little point. That constant conversation is what keeps things alive, and that's exactly what The Breakfast Club gave up by locking their content behind Netflix. The backlash hit, and now they're trying to fix it by dropping longer clips on YouTube because they lost a big chunk of their audience, and people noticed that shift immediately. Now, let's talk about what had been circulating for a minute. There were rumors that Remy Ma had already linked up with Fat Joe and Jada Kiss for their platform, but nobody knew when it would actually drop. No date, no time, no clear details, just whispers that the interview already happened. But one thing people did know for sure, Remy Ma sat down with her longtime ally Fat Joe, and that alone had people paying attention. And say whatever you want about Fat Joe, but one thing stands out. He's been solid for Remy Ma the whole time. He stayed consistent, didn't switch sides, didn't move funny, just kept it real with her from day one. That loyalty is rare, and people see it. Which makes the whole situation even more confusing because The Breakfast Club had a clear shot at securing this exclusive with Remy Ma. That's why things got tense, and Remy Ma checked Lauren LaRosa, speaking on fair reporting and making it clear she wasn't feeling how things were being handled. Because from her point of view, The Breakfast Club wasn't focused on truth or facts. They were chasing attention and viral moments. It looked like they cared more about clicks, views, and headlines than what was actually going on behind the scenes. And bringing Clarissa Shields on there, letting her act out, just added to that whole messy vibe that had people talking for all the wrong reasons. Then you had the music moments that felt off too. They were playing tracks that people weren't really checking for, not streaming, not buying, not even discussing like that. And on top of that, you had all the flashy behavior, the money being shown off, the same kind of energy people already saw in that sit-down with Melissa Ford. It came off like a performance, trying too hard to prove something instead of just keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? That whole display had people raising eyebrows, especially with how it was being presented. Meanwhile, you got Charlamagne, DJ Envy, and Angela Yee, who've all had long-standing connections with Remy Ma over the years. That's what made this situation feel even off, because similar behavior popped up again during that Way Up with Angela Yee appearance, where things got loud, claims were being made, and people were questioning what was actually true. But somehow, nobody really stepped in to challenge it directly, and that silence stood out. And here's where it really gets tricky. How is someone speaking so confidently about the details of Papoose and Remy Ma's relationship without actually being part of that marriage? Making statements about divorce, giving updates, throwing indirect shots, all while not being directly involved. That's what had people confused, especially when there were already rumors floating around about other situations tied to Papoose. It turned into a lot of back and forth energy, with emotions running high and things escalating fast, leaving everyone watching like, how did he even get this far? So now, Remy Ma finally gets the chance to speak for herself, and it's not with the Breakfast Club, it's with Fat Joe and Jada Kiss. That says everything right there. The Breakfast Club had the opportunity and let it slip, all while chasing viral moments, clicks, and quick attention instead of locking in something real. That miss is being talked about heavy, and people are connecting the dots. From what it looks like, this isn't just a basic sit-down. There's talk that Remy Ma might even perform Why You Fucking Lying during the interview. That's a whole different level of energy. It looked like there was a performance element mixed in, which makes this feel more like an event than just a conversation. If that's the case, then she's really about to make a statement in more ways than one.
And the big question is she finally going to lay everything out clearly? Like, is she about to say, look at here, I've been telling y'all exactly what it was this whole time, y'all just didn't want to hear me out? That's the vibe people are expecting. The idea that her perspective got overlooked while others were being amplified, that's something a lot of people are now rethinking. Then you've got all these serious points being brought into the spotlight, questions about legal status, marriage, and who actually has a say in what. There's no confirmed paperwork out there showing a finalized divorce, nothing official putting certain claims to rest. And even if things were different legally, that still wouldn't automatically guarantee how anything plays out next. At the end of the day, people are realizing there's a lot more complexity to the situation than what was being pushed online, and now all eyes on Remy Ma to break it down her way. People have been waiting on this Remy Ma interview for a long time, no question. The demand has been there, the curiosity has been building, and honestly, the calls should have been non-stop trying to lock this in. But instead, certain platforms dropped the ball and chose the spotlight drama tied to relationships instead of focusing on the bigger picture. That decision didn't sit right with a lot of viewers, and it sparked a whole wave of criticism. And here's where things start looking a little inconsistent, because when similar situations hit close to home, the energy wasn't the same. DJ Envy wasn't comfortable when personal matters from his own life were being discussed publicly, especially during that time when he was trying to repair things with his wife. Moments like that clearly struck a nerve, and the reaction showed just how sensitive those topics can be when they're personal. That's why people are raising eyebrows now, because on one hand, there's visible discomfort when private situations get spotlighted, but on the other hand, there's a willingness to entertain and amplify messy narratives involving others. Sitting there, laughing and engaging while someone else's situation is being picked apart, that contrast stands out, and audiences notice it right away. And then there's the conversation around public image. When someone becomes more known for controversy than for their actual achievements, people start questioning the direction of that narrative. There's been a lot of discussion about focus shifting away from professional accomplishments and more toward personal headlines, and at the same time, other figures in that same space are gaining attention for their work. That shift in attention has definitely added another layer to the situation, and it's something people are watching closely. And here's the part that really has people confused. We're heading into May in just a couple of days, and there's still no clear word on the next fight. That's the kind of update fans usually stay locked in for. But instead, the conversation keeps circling around that February fight like it just happened yesterday. People are starting to ask questions, like what's really going on here? Like Janet Jackson said, "What have you done for me lately?" That line hits right now. What's happening next? What's actually lined up? And why hasn't something like the rumored matchup with Lauren Price been officially announced? Training clips are cool, gym work is expected, but without a confirmed fight, it leaves people wondering what all that preparation is leading to. Fans want clarity, not just hints and maybes. And then there's the added layer of expectations. There's been talk, even mentioned by Papoose in a management role, about multiple fights happening this year. So naturally, people are looking at the calendar and trying to connect the dots. If those plans are real, where are the announcements? Where are the dates? Where's the buildup? The silence is what's making everything feel off.
At the same time, a lot of attention has been pulled toward online back-and-forth moments, heated exchanges, and unnecessary drama playing out in public spaces. That kind of energy starts to overshadow everything else, and people are noticing it more and more. It turns into a distraction from what really matters, and that's where the frustration is coming from. Either way, the focus is shifting back to Remy Ma now, and that interview has people locked in. There's real anticipation for her to finally speak and clear things up, and a lot of folks are hoping it brings some calm to all the noise that's been building around the situation. The time for writing off Remy Ma's name for attention looks like it's coming to an end, and people are saying that shift is happening fast. There's only so much speculation and back and forth the audience is willing to entertain before they start demanding clear answers. And now, with this interview about to drop, it feels like everything is about to be put on the table in a major way. A lot of supporters are pointing back to that live moment where Remy Ma spoke out, saying what she said back then is now lining up with clips and situations people are seeing resurface. That's why the conversation has gotten louder, because folks are comparing statements, checking timelines, and trying to figure out what actually adds up. There's a growing demand for proof, for receipts, for something solid that people can verify instead of just taking everything at face value. And that's been a big issue throughout this whole situation. Claims being made, stories being pushed, but not enough people slowing down to fact-check or question what they're hearing. That's why there's so much anticipation around this interview, because people are expecting clarity. They want to hear directly from Remy Ma and understand her side without all the noise mixed in.
There's also been a lot of talk about ongoing mentions and indirect comments, even during times when Remy Ma has stayed relatively quiet. That contrast has people paying closer attention, wondering why her name keeps coming up in different ways. It adds another layer to the situation, especially when viewers start picking up on similarities in style, presentation, and overall image that get discussed online. From fashion choices to delivery to branding ideas, people online have been pointing out parallels and debating what it all means. Whether it's coincidence or influence, it's definitely become part of the conversation, and it keeps the spotlight locked on everything connected to this situation. And now, with this interview right around the corner, it feels like everything is building up to a moment where a lot of questions might finally get addressed in one place. Tried to flip it into fireproof love, and now that whole idea looks completely burned out. The stories, the claims, all of it is getting picked apart, and people are starting to question everything they've been hearing. One by one, things are being challenged and the pressure is building. All those moves behind the scenes, all the alleged attempts to control the narrative, it's all coming into the spotlight now, and it's not landing the way some expected. Even that situation involving Rick Ross and that response track had people confused. Like, what was really going on there? At this point, the energy has clearly shifted. The focus is back where it started, and that's on Remy Ma finally getting the space to speak for herself in this exclusive sit-down with Fat Joe and Jada Kiss. And honestly, a lot of people feel like that's exactly where it should have happened from the start, because the Breakfast Club had the chance to lead this moment and didn't follow through. That opportunity is gone now, and viewers are calling it out. Instead of securing something meaningful and highly anticipated, they leaned into easier headlines and short-term attention, and people noticed the difference immediately. That decision is being talked about heavy, especially now that this interview is about to drop and bring a whole new level of clarity to the situation. Now I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on Remy Ma finally stepping forward with this tell-all interview? Do you think this is going to clear everything up or just add more layers to the story? Drop your opinions in the comments. Don't hold back. And if you're locked into content like this, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and join the conversation.